So TikTok, it's really taking off, isn't it? I saw these projections heading towards like $33.1 billion in ad revenue in 2025.
Yeah, that's a massive jump, around 40% up from this year. It's pretty staggering growth.
It really is. So let's properly dig into that. What does that explosion really mean for, the whole digital advertising world? Welcome everyone to the deep dive, your shortcut to figuring this stuff out.
Absolutely. And TikTok's changed so fast, hasn't it? It went from like just viral dance trends to being this really central place for brands,
Yeah.
especially if they want to reach younger millennials, Gen Z.
Right. It's way more than just entertainment now.
Oh, definitely. It's a serious player in marketing and advertising.
And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. You've pulled together some great sources for us. We've got ad stats, TikTok's own business advice, even some stuff on their brand strategy.
Yeah, a real mix.
So the plan is to pull out the really key bits, the surprising facts about TikTok advertising, to give you a clear picture of where it is now and, well, where it's going.
Okay, so where do we start? The scale seems like the obvious place. The numbers are just, well, they're huge.
They really are. Like,
Yeah.
as of April 2024, we're talking 1.58 billion monthly active users.
Billion.
And get this, that number doesn't even include China, right? Where they have Douyin. So the actual global reach is even bigger.
That's wild. And it's spread out globally, too. You've got Indonesia leading, over 127 million users there.
Wow.
Then the U.S. and Brazil both topping 100 million. It's not just, concentrated in one or two spots.
Right.
It's genuinely global, available in, over 150 countries. And it's the most downloaded app in more than 40 of them.
Yeah, and here's a stat that really made me pause. 1 in 4 TikTok users, they aren't active on any other social media platform.
Really?
Yeah, think about that from a brand perspective. It's like
Yeah.
a whole group of people you might only be able to read on TikTok.
That's a unique audience segment right there. Wow.
And then you see places like the UAE, Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
the user penetration is over 120%, which almost sounds impossible, right? Makes you wonder about multiple accounts or something.
Yeah, it does make you think. But it really hammers home that unique value, doesn't it? It's not just another channel. It could be your only channel to reach certain people.
Exactly. So, okay, massive user base, check. But having users is one thing. Keeping them engaged is another.
And that's where TikTok seems to, really shine. The engagement levels are kind of off the charts.
Right. In the U.S., people are spending nearly 54 minutes a day on the app. Average.
54 minutes. That's a lot of screen time.
It is. And globally, it averages out to 34 hours a month. That's more than people spend watching YouTube or scrolling Facebook.
Yeah.
What is it that's so sticky?
Well, whatever it is, that sustained engagement is gold for advertisers, right? But it's not just passive scrolling either. What's really shifted is how people, especially younger people, are using it for search.
Ah, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Like a search engine replacement.
Kind of. 2 out of 5 Americans are actually using TikTok to discover products now. That's a fundamental change in, how people find stuff.
Definitely moving beyond just entertainment. And it translates to buying too, right? Especially with Gen Z.
Oh, absolutely. Get this. 63% of Gen Z say they shop on TikTok. Compare that to millennials or Gen X, it's way lower for them.
63%. So it's not just browsing. It's become this integrated content and commerce thing for them.
Exactly. It really makes you ask, as a brand, are you meeting your customers where they're actually making decisions, not just hanging out, but deciding what to buy?
Good question. So who are these 1.58 billion users then? We need to talk demographics for targeting.
Right. Crucial stuff. The good news, for advertisers anyway, is that all 1.58 billion monthly users are 18 or older. That's the main advertising audience.
Okay, so while kids age 13 plus can use it, the ad focuses on adults.
Correct. And we've got a decent breakdown. Like July 2024 data showed about 16% women aged 18-24, 19% men in that bracket.
Yeah.
Then for 25-34-year-olds, it was around 15% women, 19% men. Gives advertisers a starting point for figuring out reach.
Although I remember seeing slightly different figures from April, suggesting maybe more like 46% female, 54% male overall globally.
Yeah, numbers can shift slightly depending on the source and time frame. And then if you look just at weekly U.S. users, it flips again, closer to 55% female, 45% male.
So it really depends on your specific target, where they are.
Exactly. And something else important here is TikTok's stance on inclusivity. They have policies against things like misgendering, dead naming,
Right.
which makes it potentially a really relevant space for brands wanting to connect authentically with, say, the younger LGBTQ plus community.
That's a good point. And And we should also touch on how usage changes with age. It's not just teens, but it definitely ramps up.
Yeah, it does. Like only maybe 19% of 3-4-year-olds are on it, but that jumps massively by the teen years.
Yeah.
78% for 12-15s, 80% for 16-17s.
And for Gen Z, it's often more popular than Facebook now, right? In most countries surveyed anyway.
That's what the data suggests, which has huge implications for where marketers should be putting their focus, their budget, if Gen Z is their target.
Definitely. But there are some catches with advertising to younger users, under 18s.
Ah, yes, absolutely crucial to know this. In certain big markets, US, Latin America, Europe, UK, Canada, there are specific restrictions if your audience includes under 18s.
Okay, what kind of restrictions?
You lose some of the really detailed targeting options, things like gender, spending power, income level, specific interests, user behaviors. You can't use those for the under 18 segment in those places.
Okay, so no super granular targeting for teens there. What can you still use?
You still have the basics. Age, language, location, though not down to the zip code device type. And in the US, you can still target based on search keywords.
Right.
So TikTok's advice, if you're aiming for that younger group, is to focus on awareness campaigns, things like reach and frequency, top view, which don't need that super detailed targeting.
Makes sense. And I think some campaign objectives are just off limits for under 18s in those regions too, like lead gen and TikTok shop sales.
Correct. Those aren't available for reaching under 18s there. So yeah, you really need a nuanced approach depending on age and location.
Okay, super helpful. Let's pivot then. The big question for any advertiser. What's the return? Are TikTok ads actually performing?
This is where it gets pretty interesting. The average ROI they're seeing is apparently $2 back for every $1 spent.
2 for 1. That sounds pretty decent.
It is, and the ad platform reaches about, 13.6% of the entire global population? That's significant reach potential.
And it's not just TikTok saying this, right? I saw a study where nearly a quarter of marketers said TikTok gave them the highest ROI compared to other platforms.
Yeah, 24% reporting highest ROI there. And over half of marketers think it's the best place for influencer marketing profits using short videos.
Wow. What about smaller businesses? Is it working for them too?
Seems like it. There was a survey where 51% of small business owners advertising on TikTok said they got a positive return.
Okay, that's encouraging.
And if you just compare the potential adult ad reach, over 1.6 billion on TikTok versus Instagram's, well, the scale of opportunity is clear.
It definitely sounds promising.
Yeah.
But I have heard, are the ad costs kind of high or getting higher?
That's a fair point. Ad rates are climbing something like over 12% year on year, which is, almost double the rate increase on Meta's platforms.
Okay.
And costs definitely spike around big shopping times like Black Friday, Cyber Monday. January tends to be cheapest.
Like seasonal demand.
Yeah. And apparently Wednesday is often the priciest day of the week.
Yeah.
And December, the most expensive month overall for CPMs.
Okay, and when you say CPM,
Yeah.
just remind us.
Sorry. CPM is cost per mil or cost per 1,000 impressions. Basically how much you pay for your ad to be seen 1,000 times.
Got it. And for those really big campaigns, like the branded hashtag challenges, those can get really expensive, right?
Oh yeah, you could be looking at starting points around $150,000 per day. Even standard video view campaigns, while maybe delivering the most impressions, tend to need a higher average investment up front.
So costs can be high, potentially rising,
Yeah.
but are people actually acting on these ads? Is the higher cost justified?
Well, this is where the argument for it comes in. Users seem really receptive. Like 61% say they're more likely to buy from brands they see advertised on TikTok.
61%, that's high.
It is, and 55% admit to making impulse purchases after seeing something on the app. That impulse buy number is higher than for Instagram, Facebook, or X.
That impulse stat is really telling, isn't it? It fits with that other stat, too, that 92% of users take some action after watching a video.
Exactly, and 37% have actually gone on to buy something they first discovered on TikTok.
So they see it, they act, sometimes they buy right away.
Pretty much. And it seems to build trust, too. 41% say they trust a brand more after seeing an ad on TikTok, and 31% are more likely to become loyal customers.
Interesting. So it's not just a fleeting interaction.
Doesn't seem like it. And looking bigger picture, TikTok's carving out a serious slice of the U.S. ad market, digital, media, social. It's no surprise over half of advertisers plan to increase their spend there, more than for any other platform.
Makes sense if the results are there. How does it stack up on specific metrics, like compared to Facebook or Instagram? Click-through rates, cost per click.
It often holds its own or even comes out ahead. Conversion rates might sometimes lag a bit behind the more established players, maybe, but TikTok frequently wins on click-through rates. CTR is often higher, and the cost per click, the CPC, is often lower.
Okay.
And the return on ad spend, ROAS, seems generally competitive, sometimes even better.
So the audience is there, they're engaged, they're buying. What about just general platform engagement beyond ads? How interactive is it?
Oh, it consistently tops the charts for engagement. The average engagement rate, likes, comments, shares relative to followers, it's significantly higher than Instagram's and just blows Twitter out of the water.
Really? Higher than Instagram?
Yeah, it makes you wonder what it is about the format, the algorithm that drives that interaction.
And does follower count affect engagement differently there?
It seems to. Accounts with, say, over 1 million followers on TikTok tend to keep a much higher engagement rate compared to Instagram accounts of the same size.
Yeah.
And even smaller accounts on TikTok, like in the 1,000 to 5,000 follower range. Their engagement rates often crush similarly sized Instagram accounts.
So content really can punch above its weight even without a huge following.
That's what it suggests. Which links back to what you hear about nano-influencers, right?
Yeah.
Smaller creators having real impact.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just passive viewing either.
No, especially Gen Z. They seem more likely to actively interact with brands on TikTok during that whole shopping process compared to how they act on other platforms. Plus, ads that tell a good story, have a narrative, they tend to hold attention longer.
Okay, so if you're an advertiser wanting to do well on TikTok, what are the key takeaways, the best practices?
Well, one big one is remembering how open users are to discovering new things there. It's perfect for reaching people who weren't even looking for you.
Right, tapping into serendipity almost.
Exactly. Also, creator recommendations matter a lot, especially recommendations from female creators when it comes to influencing purchases.
Makes sense, aligns with that authentic feel. What about the actual video itself? Format.
Vertical video, absolutely non-negotiable. Shoot vertical. It gets way more impressions than square or horizontal.
Oh, vertical first, got it.
And visuals count. Good B-roll, smooth transitions. That stuff gives impressions a real boost, especially for e-commerce videos.
And audio. Feels like sound is huge on TikTok.
It's critical. The vast majority of top videos use music or some kind of sound clip. And captions. Don't forget captions for accessibility and silent viewing. These details really add up.
Good practical tips. Okay, looking forward now, what are the big trends, the forecasts for TikTok advertising?
The growth projections are just, well, they keep going up exponentially. Ad revenue could hit something like $54 billion globally by 2027.
$54 billion. Wow.
Yeah. And just in the U.S., it's expected to cross $10 billion this year, heading towards maybe $15 billion by 2026. Plus, the actual ad revenue per user in the U.S. is climbing significantly, too.
So more users, and they're getting better at making money from each user.
Exactly. And the user base itself keeps growing globally. Projections point to over 2 billion users worldwide by 2025 and still growing towards 2029.
2 billion.
And get this, by 2025, the prediction is that people will spend more total time on TikTok than on Facebook.
More time than Facebook. That is a massive shift in the landscape.
It really is. And tying back to Gen Z, their spending power is only going up. Their deep engagement and shopping on TikTok already makes it a critical place for brands, now and definitely in the future.
Yeah, that future buying power combined with current habits, it's a huge opportunity.
Definitely. Gen Z is apparently on track to be the wealthiest generation ever, and they're already comfortable shopping on TikTok. It's a vital touch point.
It's just amazing how fast this has all happened. TikTok only launched globally in, 2018?
Yeah, incredible speed from launch to over 1 billion monthly users worldwide in just a few years.
And it's shifted perception too, right? It's not just the Gen Z app anymore.
No, not at all. There's a really significant chunk of users now over 40 and growing. You even see older creators with huge followings. And the content's broadened too. Like education is massive on there now. A huge number of users say they use it for learning. #Learn on TikTok has billions and billions of views.
So it sounds like they've been pretty smart about managing that growth, evolving the brand.
Seems like it. That consultancy, Wolf Olins, they've apparently been working with TikTok from the early days, helping them kind of age up the brand, keep it consistent while it exploded, reflect the diverse users, but always keeping the user content central.
Right.
Their whole brand identity seems built around that constant swipe, that feeling of always seeing the next thing, the next trend.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, advertising on TikTok gives you this incredible reach, super high engagement, and a demographic that's much broader than people might think.
Right. And the ROI looks solid, especially if you play by the platform's rules, use those best practices.
And the growth forecasts for users and ad money are just huge.
Yeah, the key shifts seem to be its move beyond just fun into discovery, shopping, even learning. The opportunity is figuring out how to tap into that engaged audience authentically, in a TikTok native way.
So maybe the final thought for you listening is this. Gen Z's buying power is set to explode. They clearly love platforms like TikTok. Is your brand actually set up to connect with them there? Are you really dialed into how this digital world is changing? Or are you maybe missing out on where your future customers are already spending their time and money?
That's a really vital question to ask right now. I think everything we've looked at today just underscores how transformative TikTok is and why brands really need to engage thoughtfully on this platform if they want to stay relevant.